You would have just heard, and you'd be aware anyway, 30 of the nation's biggest businesses, Tanya, have written an open letter this morning to those states to stay the course when it comes to the reopening plan. Are you with them?
Well, we all want to see life back to normal as quickly as possible. You know, I live in Sydney. I'm pretty tired of lockdown. I'm worried about you're talking about big business. I'm worried about the small businesses
Sure.
in my community, family businesses that have been going for 10 and 20 and 30 years, really struggling at the moment, not sure whether they'll survive this. I'm worried about the kids not being able to go to school. Of course, everybody wants to get life back to normal as quickly as possible. Labor supports the national plan. We need to open up and we need to do it safely. And I guess the only thing I'd say is New South Wales at the moment, we're going through a really tough time. If I was sitting in one of the states where they've got no COVID at the moment, I'd be pretty worried. I'd be, looking pretty nervously at New South Wales.
So do you support what the premiers of Queensland and WA and other states for that matter are doing by threatening to keep the borders closed beyond the point where we exceed 80% vaccination?
We need to open up. We need to get back to normal. That's what the national plan does, but it can't be beyond us to do it sensibly and safely and to work federal government with the states to make sure that we're opening up safely. Don't forget, if you're in Queensland or WA at the moment, life's pretty normal for you. You might be QR coding when you walk into a crowded cafe or a crowded restaurant. You'll be able to, watch the footy. You'll be able to go out with your friends. There's none of the restrictions that we're facing here in New South Wales. The kids are in school. The businesses are doing all right. So, yes, we need to get life back to normal. But, ask Scott Morrison why there's not enough vaccine to go around. Ask Scott Morrison why we don't have safe quarantine facilities. Ask Scott Morrison why we're not making the Pfizer-style vaccine here in Australia like he promised months ago. Ask Scott Morrison why we don't even have aged care or disability workers vaccinated yet, despite the fact that aged care workers were supposed to be vaccinated by Easter. I mean, this is firmly a problem caused by Scott Morrison's lack of planning, his inability to buy enough vaccines from enough different companies to get Australians immunised, and his inability to provide a safe system of hotel quarantine. We've seen 27 outbreaks of the virus from hotel quarantine, and Queensland's finally decided to go it alone on quarantine. It's a profound lack of national leadership.
You brought up the football. Would you be supportive of a vaccine passport, whether it's to go to the football, whether it's to go to pubs or restaurants or anything of that nature?
Look, I heard a journalist say on Sunday, a pub can say to you, you can't come in wearing a singlet and thongs. I think there'll be more and more demand for people who are vaccinated, like me. I went out and got my 2 jabs of AstraZeneca. I want to know when I'm going somewhere that I'll be safe. I want the people who are looking after my mother-in-law in the aged care facility where she is, I want them to be vaccinated. There will be increasing demand, I think, for people who've done the right thing, to know that other people around them aren't going to give them the virus, because you can still get it even if you're vaccinated, you just don't get it as badly.
Sure, but so that's a yes to a vaccine passport?
No, it's not a yes to a vaccine passport. It's yes to more people getting vaccinated and to making sensible decisions so that the people who refuse to, because they can't be bothered protecting the health and safety of the people around them, facing the consequences of their decision.
Well, just finally, Gladys Berejiklian yesterday, she says it's part of her plan to be able to reunite families by Christmas. It's debatable whether that's going to include interstate travel or not. But she's also talking about the possibility of being able to fly internationally, even though they cut the caps yesterday just quietly. Do you think that's overly ambitious?
Look, you know what? I'd be super happy if I could get my kids back to school. That's what I'm focused on at the moment. The kids are really suffering. You talk a moment ago about vaccine passports. I've got constituents ringing me every day saying that they've called doctor after doctor. They can't get an appointment for themselves, or they can't get an appointment for their kids. I'm just looking to the next step and the next step. And the next step is getting people the vaccines that they want, and getting our kids back to school, and making sure that our businesses survive this really terrible time.
All right, Tanya Plibersek, appreciate your time. Thanks, as always. We'll talk to you soon. Tanya's had her AstraZeneca.
Always a pleasure. Thanks.
I've had mine. I'm still here.